I've recently started a brand new free-to-play account which involves not using my starter champion. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you guys 3 big mistakes that you can actually make here in Raid Shadow Legends 2026. And without further ado, let's get right into it. The very first mistake actually relates to the challenge that I'm currently doing, and that is leveling up your starter champion. Now, when you start off Raid, you have 4 starter champions that you can select from. That's going to be Kayle, which is from the Dark Elves. Then you're going to have Galek from the Orcs faction. You'll have Aethel from Sacred Order, and then you'll have Elhain from the High Elves faction. Back in the day when I first started my account, or my free-to-play account back in the day, I had to level up Kayle as my first ever 60 because that is literally what people tell you to do, and there were no crazy promo codes like today. But the big difference now in 2026 is not only do we have these chase events wherein you get free legendaries just by logging in, you can actually start the game by downloading using a link which gives you a legendary straight off the bat, which for me, I selected Corvus the Corruptor. And then, to make it even crazier, you can actually use a promo code to get legendaries, and for me, I used Desert Queen, which allowed me to get a Void legendary to Hanorach. Now the thing is, Corvus, why I started with Corvus instead of, let's say, Narma or Tholin. However, Tholin and Corvus actually have the same concept for this strategy. The reason why back in the day you had to level up your starter champion first was because this would be your campaign farmer. But the big difference now is that since Corvus has AoE on the A2 and A3 that actually hits quite hard, you can make Corvus the campaign farmer, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. And since Corvus is actually a defense-based champion, he is so easy to build and so easy to keep alive. Now, the same concept applies to Tholin if you guys started off with Tholin Foulbeard. As you can see, he has an AoE A1 and then he has an AoE A3. He hits very, very hard, which makes him such a good candidate for a campaign farmer, just like Corvus the Corruptor. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys right now. I've cleared entire Brimstone Path, Brutal. Even here, just the first try, it's just using this guy, Corvus, and to Hanorach. These two will solo the boss. If you guys are curious as to how I managed to do that, make sure you guys do check the previous video. But that is exactly what I'm saying right now, guys. Your starter champion is no longer needed. Now, you might say that Kayle could be better because he brings poisons. Now, that is actually very, very correct. However, the problem is Corvus brings a ton of poisons. Venomage is another epic that you get from the promo link that I started with. He brings poisons. And then, the free champion that you can currently get, which is Ezio, is also bringing poisons. So now you do see a problem here, right? The debuff bar can only be filled up to 10 if you're thinking about clan boss. Well, actually, it always fills up to 10. But you do get the point here, right? The thing is, on clan boss, you will want decreased defense and decreased attack, which takes up 2 bars already for the debuff bar. Corvus can bring you 4 poisons. Venomage will bring you 2 poisons. And Ezio over here will also bring you a ton of poisons. Now, that's if you only take into account they use their skill once. But Corvus alone can actually keep up all 8 poisons by himself if you build him fast enough. Because not only does he bring poisons, he actually brings debuff extension and buff extension for your team, which makes Corvus such an insane champion over Narma for my own opinion. Because let's say you start off with Narma, right? I do not believe Narma can actually campaign farm, which means you actually have to level up your starter champion, which would be an absolute waste. So this is why I opted out starting with Corvus. Of course, I would have loved to start with a Tholin, but I don't really like him. I just like Corvus. I like how he looks. So that's pretty much the only reason why I chose him over Tholin. This is why the starter champions have been power crept like crazy. They're really garbage, and like I said, the link provided me with a Corvus, Mordecai, Venomage, and Tagore, which literally gets rid of the point of Kayle because we don't need poisons from him anymore. Maybe you can say he can solo Spider or something, but literally these champions can also do it. Maybe they'll be a lot slower, or maybe a little bit slower. But if you guys are free to play like me, your resources have to be spent literally picture perfect. And as you can see, even masteries, I literally put it on Corvus first. And right now we are building up food so that we can just level this guy up. He is going to be my first 6-star. You can see that Kayle isn't even leveled up. He's only leveled up to 30 and Ascendant because I needed to do those for missions. Otherwise, I wouldn't even give Kayle any attention. He is so trash nowadays, guys. And that's not to bring hate to this guy. If you want to have fun and build out the old style, just leveling him up, that's completely fine. But I am making this video for those hardcore free-to-play players who wants to play this game literally near perfect. Now, the second mistake that people will make is just farming dungeons for no absolute reason. Now, as you can see, I haven't even given any time to these dungeons. This one, I had to give time because it was a mission. Spider, just stage 1 for mission. Fire Knight, stage 1 for mission. Most people would make the mistake of farming Dragon, let's say stage 10 very early, or maybe stage 16. But that's not how you actually play the game anymore. Nowadays, what you should be doing is farming Faction Wars so that you can get Perception Gear. That is one way. Or you can do what I'm doing right now. As you can see, let's go ahead and click on Equipped as well. What I've been farming right now is some chest pieces. So you see, 5-star defense, 4-star HP, 4-star defense, and then most importantly, speed boots. We have 1 5-star speed boots. No, we have 2 5-star speed boots rather. And then we have a couple of 4-star speed boots. But if you go down to lifesteal, I'm starting to farm this now. It's ideal you keep only 5 stars unless they are speed boots. So as you can see, I kept 4-star speed boots. But for chest pieces, ideally you want them to be 5-star, 5-star HP, 5-star attack, 5-star defense for lifesteal. These 4 stars, it's very unlikely that I'll use them. But you can see the point here, right? How am I even getting these pieces of gear? Well, very, very simple, guys. The best place to farm for gear is going to be in Brutal, Palace of Aravia, and Brutal, Valdemar Strait. Now, like I said, since you don't need Kale, this guy is a defense champion, so you can actually farm every single place. I can farm Palace of Aravia for speed gear, Valdemar for the lifesteal gear, and if I wanted to just farm for raw XP, I can actually farm 12-3, 12-6 using Corvus alone at 5 stars, which is very, very crazy because, he is a legendary. His stats start out very, very high, and since his defense, his survivability is really, really good. In addition to that, for the Sacred Order ring, and how I got those Sacred Order rings and other accessories is pretty much from the reward calendar. So it lines up very, very well. You can get really easy 6-star gear. Look at this. I have 6-star here and then another 6-star accuracy. Very, very good. That's lucky. So there. You can see that this is why I'm really saying right now that Corvus is going to be probably the best code you can start out with the amount of events that line up. And like I said, if you start out with Norma, you have to level up your starter champion as a campaign farmer, which is already a huge waste. So yeah, Tholin and Corvus are going to be much stronger, but getting back to the point, farming your gear. On the very early game, you only need the speed and lifesteal gear. Lifesteal gear so that you can actually survive in Clan Boss. And when you are at 6 stars, you have the ability to unlock the Mastery Tier 6. Once you have War Master, it pairs really well with your lifesteal gear, which means you're going to survive much, much longer. And, by the way, why Corvus is even better than the starter champion Kale, Corvus brings decreased attack, buff extension, debuff extension, poison sensitivity, and decreases the amount of damage that the enemies can do if they're under a poison debuff. As you can see, it stacks up to 25%. That is insanely broken. And paired up with Venomage with more poisons, decreased attack, decreased defense, he can also bring you a nice damage reduction. To Hanorach will bring you decreased attack, and then we don't want block buffs to land, but we have decreased speed, which doesn't do anything, but we have continuous healing, we have increased defense, increased speed, we have the cleanse for the stuns. So you can see why this is such an insane start. As for the speed gear, this is ideally what your champion wants to look like. 4-piece lifesteal and then 2-piece speed. If not 2-piece speed, if they need to land debuffs, you want to have 2-piece perception. But the very nice piece right here. No crit rate, no crit damage, but at least it's a main stat. But when you actually have the perception, but why don't you actually need perception that early? Because if you start off with Hanorach, look at this. You gain an easy 70 accuracy straight off the bat, which is why this is such a crazy one. It really does help you build your champions a lot easier. So there, that is the best place you should be farming. Farm Palace of Aravia, Valdemar Strait, and Faction Wars. Please do not farm these dungeons until you can actually farm stage 20, except for Spider. If you can farm stage 10 Spider, that's already a very, very good start. Because stage 10 has a weird bug wherein 5 stars actually drop way more often than every single place. So yes, stage 10 Spider is a good place to farm for accessories. Also, you cannot farm accessories from Faction Wars or Campaign anyway. But these other places, do not farm them unless you can even farm stage 20. And lastly, for the biggest mistake that most people make is not farming food efficiently. Make sure you guys do buy, as you can see here, I bought out the 2 stars. Make sure to buy out every single uncommon that pops out in the shop. I'll make a video soon on how you can actually farm these champions very effectively, how to use your brews very effectively so that you can get your first 6-star within a day. If you guys are interested on how free-to-play crazy people actually farm, comment down below because I will be making sure that I make a video on that so that you can actually maximize the amount of gems, the amount of energy, and the best way to use your brews, the best ways to actually farm up your food. Comment that down below if you guys want to see that type of video. Those are some of the most crucial mistakes that most people make nowadays. Of course, there are more mistakes. I'll talk about them in the future video. So make sure you guys do leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next video.